The Persian Gulf is like a bomb waiting to go off. And right now, we are watching two superpowers strike matches while simultaneously trying to negotiate who has the bigger fire extinguisher. On one side, you have the most powerful navy ever assembled, with F-35s and Tomahawk missiles. On the other, you have a defiant Tehran, armed with missiles and proxies, saying, "We'll talk, but don't you dare touch us." So are we looking at the calm before the storm, or the storm before the bigger storm? We are looking at a military buildup that hasn't been seen since the Iraq invasion. So how did we get here? And more importantly, where is this thing going? Buckle up, because we are breaking it all down. Alright guys, let's jump right into it. The headlines coming out of the Gulf right now are absolutely wild. Firstly, the US has essentially doubled down, ordering the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. to join the USS Abraham Lincoln in the region. We're talking 2 carrier strike groups, plus an additional 6 warships, destroyers and littoral combat ships, all converging on Iranian waters. And at the exact same time, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi just landed in Geneva for a second round of indirect nuclear talks with the US, mediated by Oman. And get this, the US delegation is reportedly going to include Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff sitting down across the Omani mediator from the Iranians. But here's the kicker. While they're talking, the Pentagon is briefing on how they might support Israeli strikes if this thing falls apart, including aerial refueling for Israeli jets. And to top it all off, just days ago, we had direct clashes. An Iranian Shahed drone shot down by a US F-35C, and Iranian gunboats trying to seize a US-flagged tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. So, what are we looking at? Let's get into the technical breakdown, because the hardware here actually tells the true story. You don't send 2 carrier strike groups to a region to say hello. The USS Gerald R. is a 100,000-ton beast. It's the most advanced warship ever built. We're talking electromagnetic aircraft launch systems, EMALS, that can hurl a jet into the sky faster and more efficiently than the old steam cats. This thing is a mobile sovereign airbase. It carries the F-35C Lightning II, which is the carrier variant of the most advanced stealth fighter on the planet. And why is this important? Because the F-35 isn't just a dogfighter. It's a flying sensor fusion machine. It can identify the battle space, share that data instantly, and coordinate a multi-layer defense. When you pair that with the 4 guided missile destroyers that just showed up, each packed with 90 to 96 vertical launch system cells loaded with standard missiles for anti-air and Tomahawks for land attack, you have essentially created a no-fly zone and a no-sail zone. But let's not kid ourselves. Iran isn't sitting idle. They have been watching, and they are testing us. The February 3rd attempt to seize the MV Stena Imperative? That wasn't just random piracy. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy uses swarms of fast attack craft, little speedboats packed with machine guns and anti-ship missiles. Their doctrine is to overwhelm a large ship's defenses with sheer numbers, a swarm tactic. And that Shahed 129 drone that got vaporized by the F-35, that's an armed, long-endurance drone, similar to the ones they've given to Russia. They are testing our reactions, our rules of engagement, and the sensor capabilities of the carrier group. The bottom line on the threat? They are looking for a seam, a weakness, and a moment of hesitation. This is where it gets juicy. The US is building a layered defense that is terrifying to think about. Layer 1 is the E-2D Hawkeye, the airborne radar plane, seeing everything from 30,000 feet. Layer 2 is the F-35C pickets, lurking on the edges, using their stealth to see without being seen. Layer 3 is the Aegis destroyers, ready to light up the sky with SM-2s and SM-6s if something gets through. And Layer 4 is the close-in weapon system, the Phalanx, the R2D2 with a gun that can turn an incoming missile into a cloud of confetti at the last second. But it's not just defense. Those Tomahawks on the destroyers can take out Iranian launch sites before the first boat even leaves the pier. That is the kind of firepower that changes a nation's mind. But guys, we have to look at the strategic big picture here. This isn't just about firepower, it's about leverage. You have to ask, why are the talks happening now, with this much hardware floating nearby? To me, it looks like the ultimate good cop, bad cop routine. Prime Minister Netanyahu is publicly saying any deal is useless unless Iran dismantles its entire nuclear program. President Trump is saying, let's talk, but if we don't, Phase 2 is going to be very tough. This is the Washington playbook. Negotiate from a position of overwhelming strength. They are showing Iran the stick, the two carrier groups, the potential for Israeli strikes, while offering a sanctions relief, maybe even economic cooperation in oil and gas. They are forcing Tehran to choose to talk, or we will make the military option for Israel a very real possibility. So let's paint a hypothetical picture of what could go down if this diplomacy collapses. Let's say the Geneva talks fail. Iran, feeling the pressure, decides to make a point. But they don't attack a U.S. ship directly. That would be stupid. Instead, they use their proxies in Yemen, the Houthis, to launch a coordinated drone and cruise missile barrage at a U.S. base in the UAE. What happens next? The Ford and Lincoln strike groups go to war status. Within minutes, satellites and drones have confirmed the launch sites inside Iran. The call is made. You'd see a massive salvo of Tomahawk missiles from the destroyers, not just a dozen, but hundreds, streaking low over the Gulf, taking out radar sites, air defense batteries, and command centers. Then, the F-35s go in, not just dropping bombs, but using their EW suites to jam whatever's left of the Iranian radar network. They would strike the launch facilities in southern Iran with hard-to-defend-against SDBs. The goal wouldn't be to invade, but to systematically dismantle Iran's ability to project power. The Strait of Hormuz would effectively become an American lake for the duration. It would be a short, violent, and decisive display of why you do not poke the bear when it has two carriers in the neighborhood. So, what's the bottom line? The bottom line is that we are in the most dangerous yet most promising moment with Iran in years. The U.S. is playing a high-risk, high-reward game. They have assembled a naval armada that could turn the Gulf into a shooting gallery, but they've done it to force a diplomatic solution. The ball is in Iran's court. They have signaled they can compromise on their 60% enriched uranium stockpile, but they refuse to ship it out or stop enriching entirely. Washington, backed by Israel, says that's not enough. Something has to give. The key takeaway here is that the military buildup isn't separate from the diplomacy, it is the diplomacy. It's the pressure that either creates a deal or starts a war. We are literally days away from knowing which path we go down. So, where do you think this goes from here? Is this the prelude to a historic deal? Or the opening moves of a conflict we've been dreading for decades? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss a second of the action. We'll be watching the skies over Geneva. Eric, out.